Yeah, it's Transformation Day, world. It's been 6 or 7 days now that I've been trying to do these transformation photos, but the weather just has not been cooperating. It's either been extremely rainy or the times that I actually need to get the pictures done to mirror when I did them the last 3 years, it's usually about 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon towards the end of July. And finally, I thought we weren't going to be able to do them today because it was so cloudy before we got into the gym, but the beautiful one is here. We're going to take some transformation photos. Let's do this. A whole year of intermittent fasting.
I never do my nigga like Pac, bitch, only love. Real life, tryna fuck up my day. Fuck going.
What is going on, world? I am the Hungarian experiment. Now, before we analyze and compare my pictures from last year to this year, I want to touch on a few things. Number one, I'm not a bodybuilder. I have no intention of standing up on a stage, flexing in a thong next to other dudes. I'm not trying to judge anyone or think negatively of those who do it. It's just not my thing. We all have this animalistic need for competition, and I'm able to settle mine in other ways. I don't need a trophy stating I'm better than someone else. I'm trying to make small, incremental growth and changes to my body over long periods of time while still being able to accomplish other things in life, like handstand push-ups, stomach vacuums, this YouTube channel, having a relationship, a full-time job, coaching, and helping other human experiments get upon their YouTube journeys. I'm trying to show that you don't need to follow the same path as the typical bodybuilder just to get the results you seek in terms of muscle growth. So two, in that sense of not being a bodybuilder, I'm also not here to just vlog my life journey. I'm trying to document my life factors in order to prove certain things. One of these factors that I'm trying to prove is that intermittent fasting works. I'm not going to go into detail about intermittent fasting, but basically my goal, ever since I started intermittent fasting about 5 years ago, is that I can stay lean year-round. I can have six-pack abs and still put on noticeable muscle mass year after year. No bulking necessary. I basically eat in a caloric deficit for about 70 to 80% of the year, with the other 20 to 30% being huge cheat days where I eat whatever and as much as I want. Over this last year, I've also drank alcohol on an average of 2 to 4 days a week. I'm trying to prove that optimizing your hormones is the key that is going to get you the results you seek in life, from the mental and physical to the sexual and social. We need to stop pretending that life can fit in this little box for every single person, and we need to learn how to manipulate life to give us the results we want by adding as much skill and as much knowledge to our arsenal of tools as possible. All aspects of being a human being will be enhanced if you have a higher hormonal output coursing through your body. And I believe this natural increase of growth hormone you get from fasting on a daily basis is a great tool to use in order to put on muscle without having to bulk. To be honest, watching these young guys put on 20 to 30 pounds of fat and then to shred them off year after year, I think it's negatively affecting their hormonal output and causing them to age faster. Take a look at Christian Guzman's face. This guy's 22 or 23 years old, and when he gets lean, he looks like he's in his 30s. Yeah, he might be getting insane muscle growth right now, but how is this gonna affect his future and his life? My goal is hormonal optimization to increase life longevity and disease prevention while getting the results we want while still enjoying this modern society that we live in. In terms of food and drink and lifestyle, I sacrifice very little in terms of what I want to do. And number three, this was my weak point year. Now, through most of my teens and even through the first years of my 20s, I lifted for my ego. I didn't wear my glasses in the gym because I thought it was uncool, which resulted in me doing sloppy reps, which most likely held me back from a lot of muscle growth. In this same sense, I never really concerned myself with properly stretching and warming up my body. You could say I was the typical bro.
The first 7 years of my lifting career, the only injuries that I had were the ones that I made up to get out of leg day. So no, I didn't believe injuries were real. Well, now that I'm a little older, and my joints climb like hood rats in the club, well, I still don't believe injuries are real. That popping sound right there, that's not an injury. That's my joints clapping for me, alright? But that's not so bad. You know what is bad? Stretching. And I'm so fucking bored right now.
Now, I still managed to make gains over this egotistical phase of my life. My back, shoulders, traps, and quads grew immensely, which you will see. But because I didn't warm up my body and pay attention in the mirror to my weak points, my chest, glutes, and hamstrings took a serious hit. Even though I was exercising them, I wasn't getting the most optimal time under tension. My stabilizers and secondary muscles took over because I wasn't analyzing myself in the mirror and paying attention to my form, especially with the limitations my body has, which I will be discussing in depth in an upcoming video. Along with this, while growing up, I didn't have the internet, or at least didn't have as much info as is available now. Everything I read from magazines and saw from my physical environment was saying lift big and eat big to get big. So that's what I did. I lifted heavy even though it compensated my form, and it took me 5 to 6 years of lifting like that, and after finally shredding away all the fat with intermittent fasting, to realize that I was doing a lot of things right, but also a lot of things very, very wrong. So that's basically a rough outline of why I have weak points and why I've been working my ass off over the last couple years to fix my posture and bring up my weak points. I will have a video coming out in the next month or so discussing these exact weak point limitations I have on my body, either due to being born this way or from years and years of doing things wrong, like wearing those straddle backpacks that run across your body, or slouching while I was sitting in school, or hunching forward on a keyboard. Few examples of my limitations is my rib cage, and my hips are very off and not symmetrical with each other. Like, here's my ribs. This is something I have to work against and I have to consider when I'm going into the gym. I can't just go in there and bang out bench press because of my rib cage making my body offline and my shoulders offline for each other. I did this for years and years and years, thinking that following others out there, that I was doing the right things. But I didn't see anyone out there saying, look, I have a lopsided rib cage. I have an offset body. My right and my left body is off from each other, so I have to consider that differently. I never saw anyone out there in the world doing this or saying this or showing this. This is coming out a lot now that we have YouTube, but in the past, I didn't have this, so I didn't even consider that I had limitations. I didn't even consider that maybe my shoulders, my hips, and my rib cage is off from each other and that I should consider that when lifting. Now, is this due to genetics and me being born this way, or is this due to factors that I did to myself, like I said, wearing the straddle backpacks or hunching forward on keyboards? This is all stuff that we need to figure out as human experiments in the world. We need to consider that the things that are part of our lives in this modern society right now, that we may need to work against them. When we go into the gym, we need to do exercises that open up our shoulders and open up our bodies, because for 6 to 8 hours a day we're hunched forward. These are some things that we as millennials need to be considering as we progress through our lives. And I will be covering that in a video coming up in the future. Now, I told myself last year around my birthday in April that by my birthday this year, I would have the physique I've been striving to build my whole life. Now that my chest has finally filled in and my posture is pretty much on point, I am quite content with my body. And I really have no intention of getting much bigger than this. Obviously, I still want to get bigger, and now that I've filled in my weak points, I want to see everything else increase. But if someone said, hey man, sorry, but this is where your physique is going to stay for the rest of your life, I would not be disappointed. I want to look good with clothes on, and good when I take clothes off. I want to be confident in myself because I'm confident in my body, which is going to carry over into other areas of my life. I could really care less what other men think about my body development. So, feel free to leave your comments below, but I just hope you know that if you're trying to hit my emotions through your words, if you think you can make me feel shitty about myself for saying I lost muscle in some areas of my body, which I most definitely did, then you are not going to succeed. I want to know what you guys think about my journey overall. My journey isn't easy to discuss because I implement a lot of factors and do a lot of things that most people don't do. It takes a bit of explaining to understand my journey and how I am trying to acquire results in life completely different than others. So let's analyze my 1-year transformation. first I want to start out with my back, which I feel has had the biggest transformation in just 1 year. I want to start from the lower back and work my way up. As you may be able to notice, my waistline is smaller. From doing stomach vacuums rigorously for a year straight and then continuing it over these last 6 to 8 months in 2016, I've lost about 4 to 6 inches off my waistline, and I believe that it is clearly evident in these photos. I can't be 100% sure if it was only because of stomach vacuums, but I believe the combination of stomach vacuums, as well as focusing on my form and bringing up my weak points, helped to shrink and reduce my waistline. As we start to move up the back, you can see my back columns in 2016 compared to 2015 is a lot more evident in terms of separation. As you can see on the picture in the right, it's just like a bulk of muscle has gathered there. It's not very even or symmetrical as it is in the left picture. You can also see the dimple area on my lower back in the right picture has completely disappeared, and this is honestly where I felt a lot of strain in my lower back as I lifted, and that has gone away over time with proper form. As we move up the back now towards the upper back or trap area, I feel they are evening out a lot more now, and this will be very evident when you see the comparison between 2016 to 2014. Now, in terms of my lats, there really isn't much change because besides trying to maintain them, I didn't work them out hard this year. I was focused on my weak points, but if you may notice, my V has widened and looks a lot more straight from top lat to lower back, whereas in 2015, it's more like a vase shape than a V. So all in all, just in my back there, I feel after 1 year, I've made a significant change. I definitely lost bulk in my back, but I feel that I was putting on muscle in all the wrong places. Building muscle in my lower back, offsetting my V. In my opinion, if I kept lifting like this, just lifting for my ego rather than paying attention to what I was doing then, by my 30s, I would most likely would have suffered a serious type of injury to my lower back. Now here's a comparison between 2016, 2015, and 2014. Just in 2 years, I feel I've made an insane transformation in my back and put on muscle in areas I wanted to with very little focus on my back besides maintaining the muscles and focusing on my form on deadlifts. Now here what I did is I put several pictures together in a sequence so you can see my posture and you can see my body. Now don't focus too much on my top half, but look at my ass and the separation between my obliques and my hips. This is where I feel you can see the biggest change in my posture. I'm standing in more of a straight line. In the first sets of pictures there, just to show my obliques, I have to lean back so hard because my shoulders were rolled forward and my body position and posture was forcing my shoulders to slouch forward, which you'll see coming up in other pictures here. So this sequence of these photos here, again, is just to show you my posture and my line and me how I'm standing up straight. Now, as you can see in this comparison here, my back has definitely lost that bulky muscle look, but all in all, it's more symmetrical. I'm standing up straighter without having to force my body into that position. And as you can see, my shoulders aren't so far forward anymore. I have another video coming out where I show a 3-year intermittent fasting transformation where I don't discuss my weak points as much, but I do discuss and show that my shoulders were so far pushed forward and now they're so much more even and symmetrical and I'm just in such a better posture. I'm so happy that I stopped lifting for my ego and really focused on my weak points. So now moving on to my chest. Besides my posture and my legs, my chest was the other thing that I was really trying to focus on bringing up. As I said there, because of my lopsidedness, I felt like I couldn't hit my chest very well. And as you can see in these pictures, I feel like I've made a significant improvement in my chest. I was definitely leaner in 2015, as you can see from the veins in my shoulders and my arms. But look right at my shoulder there, where shoulder meets chest. That is where I feel you can see a lot of the bulk muscle being put on. And as you'll see from the comparison to 2014 to 2016, I've definitely put on muscle in my chest area. Over 2015, to really push not just my chest, but also intermittent fasting to the test, I wanted to see how my recovery would work with intermittent fasting. Would I be able to recover the next day and the day after extensively working out that muscle group? So over 2015, I did things like I worked out my chest 10 days straight. I wanted to see that with the benefits of intermittent fasting, with the growth hormone boost, would I still be able to work out my chest 3 or 4 days after working it out hard? And yes, I was able to. But that also had an effect on the other parts of my body I could work out. So while I was trying to bring up my weak points, I was also experimenting with things. I was also experimenting with my recovery and pushing intermittent fasting to the test. So now that my weak point year is over, I really want to focus, as I said earlier, on bringing up my whole body. As I said there, I did about 10 days of chest straight because I wanted to see my recovery. Now this year, now that these transformation photos are done, what I'm doing now, and I'm actually on my 3rd day, is I'm doing a full month of squats. I'm squatting for 30 days straight. So my posture and hopefully everything that I've been doing in terms of bringing up my weak points is going to continue. Hopefully next year, my next transformation photos, that my body will be even more symmetrical because I'm taking the knowledge and the skill that I built in the gym this year, and I'm going to apply it over 2016 and 2017 to not just bring up my weak points now, but bring up my whole body. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you guys for following along my journey and being part of this. I want to take you guys through and be open and honest about as much as I can in regards to my body and the factors that I put into my life. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment and go hit that like button, world. Let me know what you thought of my 1-year intermittent fasting transformation. I am the Hungarian Experiment.